Hey folks, MasakoX here. The Ginyu Force have been the ones around the Dragon Ball sphere that have captured the hearts of many. In our April Fool's stable of what ifs, they've certainly been the most colourful and passionate examples of characters that have come from there. And I'm not saying that because of their visages. They genuinely bring a lot to the table in terms of their overall look and feel. Now that they've had the chance to do more for the story, as associates of the Dragon Team, the overall tone for their lot in life have been rather good. However, Babidi then had to come along and spoil it all for them, especially in the case of Ginyu. As a result, the captain of the force had been captured by Babidi and now been controlled into his using his Change Now ability to take over Buu's body, a last act of defiance for the angry little potato. In the last part, not only did we have Ginyu taking over Super Buu's body, right when he had just about got it I should add, the rest of the gang had to deal with the situation about how to get their leader back. If they could get him back. With Burter and Recoome now on side once more, after their control had been lifted from them, the group had to call upon higher factors that had been with them not that long ago. With the power of Super Buu and Captain Ginyu fused together, this combined beast had the ability to not only absorb people, but it could then also consolidate all that absorbed essence and then make a hasty exit as a means of preservation. So you could be like Buu, save your game, and then bounce. No fear of being undone. Or at least that was what Babidi was banking on. With the Supreme Kai back in the game, the Elder Kai was released from his prison and then tasked with training Gohan in the meantime how to tap into his current world's potential. But wait, there is another that might be joining him. But wait even more folks, there is another crisis to be had. We had a major battle go down because Ginbu had been busy on Zoom. Without Piccolo and Goku, because they had been absorbed, the fate of the universe seems to be uncertain. Whilst Captain Ginyu, or Ginbu as I like to call him, and Babidi started to use the power of Goku and Piccolo to mount their next attack on the people, Gohan and Jeice are undergoing a special training on the sacred world of the Kais, Jeice having to sort of observe from afar. During the whole training routine, Shin realises that they had better get a move on since the hidden planet of Yardrat was under attack, as the evil doer of the potato-headed wizard and his now new best minion had chosen it as their next target. Shin was particularly nervous because of Yardrat's position and power. The occupants of the world had vowed to never leave their world to ensure that their skills and ways would never be exploited by any other peoples, or that they would ever be tempted to do so themselves. With Ginbu there, all of that would amount to nothing. We have to do something! Burter seems terrified by the prospect of Yardrat falling to that little potato. Master Dabura needs our help! Krillin was being the rational one here in this present situation. I know, surprising, right? You need to give Bulma more time to gather the Dragon Balls. Then we'll have the likes of Goku and Vegeta back again. Then we can try and maybe surprise those two. By then it might be too late! Guldo also feeling that they should be doing something in the here and now to at least buy Bulma some more time finding the Dragon Balls. 16 ponders for a while before coming up with an idea himself.
We can perhaps attempt to provide some kind of a distraction.
Distraction? What would be the point of that? You'll be absorbed too, and then we'll have to deal with you. Everyone's friends seem pretty shocked by that idea. 16 knocks his head, and you hear a metal clang ring throughout his vast frame.
I do not believe that I am edible. Besides, it's either that or risking even more victims' lives. I cannot agree to that.
Recoome steps up and pats 16 on the shoulder in solidarity. Recoome agrees, and maybe we will be able to get through to the captain at the same time. This is a stupid plan. You may make our enemy even stronger by going in there without a backup plan. 18 rolling her eyes as she said that. 16 then turned to his sister.
Maybe, but we will take that chance. Hopefully it will give Gohan and Jeice enough time.
And as such, the Force used their acquired skills to their advantage, and promptly used instant transmission to get themselves to Yardrat, where the locals were using tricks and illusions to try and avoid being eaten by Ginbu. Fortunately, it had proven to be somewhat effective. They weren't as vulnerable as our Earth contingent had anticipated or feared. The captain was taking his sweet time though, just so he could get used to his new powers. He was aware, especially after the time he had switched with Goku back in the day, that if he went in too hot too soon, he He would wind up making a mistake, then leaving himself open to a pushback regardless of his newfound strength. But then, his interest was piqued when he sensed a familiar entity and turned to see his old crew staring back at him.
Ah, boys! I did not expect you so soon!
Ginbu nodded and presumed that they were being smart. Surely they wouldn't come here to die, right? In the back of his mind, he had hoped that that wasn't the case.
Well, I see that you have now come to your senses and decided to join us.
But no, they wouldn't. The Big Blue stepped forward, looking seriously at his old boss.
Captain, stop! What you're doing is wrong! You don't have to follow his orders!
Burter glared at his former leader.
I understand the allure of power and control. I went through that myself. But all it is a hollow sense of satisfaction. It's not real!
Ginbu shook his finger.
Oh, but I want to. Very much so. I haven't felt this powerful in years, and you too can be on the winning side. It saddens me so that you chose to eschew yourselves of this marvelous opportunity, my friends.
Barbary noted that the resolve of those two morons that he had previously been able to control via their minds had grown since the last time he had time to inspect them up close, and then it became clear that even for a wizard of his great skill, taking their minds right now would not be as trivial. He couldn't do it alone. Well, he supposed that he'd have to trust in his minions' ability and persuasive tactics to break them down to a point where he could then swoop in and take back control. But much to Ginyu's surprise, 16 was unmoved and led the charge, landing a punch squarely on the Buunyu's jaw. Not that it did any damage or anything, but, well, if that's how they wanted to play. The captain started to toy with his ex-underlings, mocking their sloppiness, but he didn't wish to kill them. That wasn't part of the plan. He had no desire, at least not yet, to off his former teammates. He had hoped he could whittle them down perhaps to the point that they would just give up and see sense. It took hours upon hours to wear them down. 16 didn't wear down though. He was still standing after all that, since he could not be tired, cause giant Juro robot. Barbary started to get tired of this little game, so he prompted Ginyu to stop playing with his food and just finish this. But before he could do that, someone appeared before them, transported by Kibito. That someone was Gohan, with a look starker than ever before. Ginbu looked quite enthused to see some fresh meat come to test his might.
Oh, hello, Gohan. Welcome to our little dance. I see that you look sharper than before. Perhaps you might be willing to join...
Ginyu wasn't able to finish that sentence, as a powerful punch went through his stomach and out the other side. That hurt. How did this boy become so strong in a little over 24 hours? Questions for later. Now he could finally get serious. And much to Barbary's fear, the two started a duel which was surprisingly equal. As that was going on, Jeice decided that time was of the essence, and he used instant transmission to get himself to the lookout in order to perform the whole ritual in the hyperbolic time chamber. 25 hours in there would be just a few minutes in the real world. And also, because of the white void, it was easier to focus since there was little in terms of distractions. Still though, the fight on Yardrat was far from over. Gohan might have been getting an advantage, but in Ginyu's mind, it was mostly because he took him by surprise, that was all. Because of his newfound power, yes. He would claw that back eventually. He would tire out just like the rest of them. I don't want to kill you, Captain, but if you force my hand, I will do it.
My, it makes me almost proud that you become so powerful and so willing to kill. Good old Piccolo would have been proud as well. I can feel it because he's inside me.
Stop it. He knew that Gohan couldn't be swayed, but still, there was one thing he could do. As Ginbu charged an enormous blast of ki, he aimed it squarely at the exhausted force. He wasn't worried about their safety, of course, because he knew that Gohan right now would act. He would just go in there, deflect the attack, and leave himself wide open. Or at least that's what he had hoped. But fortunately for him, he was proved right, because sure enough, Gohan did block the attack, which gave Ginbu his time to strike. As Gohan was distracted, Ginbu detached a portion of his body and attached it to the boy's back whilst he was swinging to perform a roundhouse kick. To exacerbate the illusion that he was failing, Ginbu chose to take the kick and wax lyrical about how Gohan had gotten so strong and that, oh, he can't win now.
Oh, my boy, what's that thing on your back?
Before he could realize what it was, the son of Goku was absorbed, the blob of goo on his back too big to rip off.
Yes! Yes!
Barbary squealed with glee, seeing his number 2 getting even more powerful. It seemed that all hope was lost for our heroes. Even with the Dragon Balls on deck, this opponent was way too strong. Gohan was now a part of him too. But then, a new challenger appeared. Hey kitten, playtime's over. It was Jeice, and he had a pretty stern look on his face.
Jeice, my boy, you are rather late to the party. Come on, let's drop all this nonsense and you join me. You missed out the first time.
Jeice glared at Ginyu and sent some key attacks his way. Whilst he was stronger than ever, these attacks still didn't manage to do a lot to Ginbu. Despite the obvious gulf in power, Jeice decided to charge in anyway, but his former leader was able to easily dodge all of that. With Gohan's power, more easily than ever.
See? This is true power. And you are quite formidable yourself. Don't beat yourself up too much, my boy. I have the combined powers of Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta inside of me.
But Jeice was silent throughout all of this, attacking his opponent and landing a punch from time to time. Ginyu started to grow tired of this and started to answer back with his own attacks, but it felt like he was just swatting away a fly. Be that as it may, Jeice kept coming back at him, always attacking.
Say, you are quite persistent. As you can see, this is pointless. I am much stronger than you are, so why don't you just back down and accept your fate?
Then Jeice stopped attacking. Then finish it. Ginbu's face looked bemused.
Whoa. What?
Go on then. Kill us all. Show us that power of yours.
I could easily.
So go on. Why aren't you doing that, kitten?
Do it! Do it if he's asking for it! Stop wasting time, Ginyu!
How long? Jeice glared at Ginyu.
How long what?
How long have you been free of his control, kitten? Really? No, wait, let me guess. Once you changed bodies with Buu. Ginyu looked at Jeice with a shocked expression on his face.
Jeice, I've found meaning in life again. And you guys can as well. We are not meant to be mere defenders of a second-rate planet. We were meant to conquer.
The rest of the force was shocked at this revelation. Their captain had been free from Barbary's control for all this time? Did that mean that all the stuff that he did whilst under supposedly Barbary's control, he did that of his own free will? That wasn't Barbary's words spewing out of his gob and had been for many days? One by one, shattered and beaten, they stood next to Jeice.
Come on, Captain.
Guldo muttered.
Kill us, if conquest is the only thing that matters to you.
Recoome uttered.
We won't defend ourselves. We will make it easy for you,
Added Burter.
I've...
Ginbu raised his hand.
Do it! Do it, you stupid oaf! What are you waiting for?
Barbary was yelling. Jeice looked disappointed. Ginyu looked at them and started to load a key attack. The force grew closer together, almost embracing. They closed their eyes and heard a ki blast. But it didn't hit them. It didn't hit Barbary. Ginyu had pierced a hole through his stomach and forcefully started to remove those he had previously absorbed. Starting with Vegeta, Good Buu, then Super Buu in his old body, Goku, Piccolo, and then finally Gohan.
No! What are you doing, you absolute moron? I command you to stop!
Barbary tried to take over his mind once more, but then time stopped. It was Guldo, really exhausted, who had done that. He mustered all his power and shot Barbary through his giant potato head.
Just shut up, jerk.
The fight wasn't over though, as Ginbu started to shrink. Meanwhile, Jeice had asked the Yardratians to heal Gohan and the others, just in case they had to jump back into a fight at any moment.
What? What's happening to the captain?
Recoome was shocked. Shin then explained that he was now turning into the most primal form of Buu. Kid Buu Ginyu was born, laughing in a rather uncontrollable way.
Oh my! He's a spotty! He is unsettling!
You have to leave the body, Captain! It's out of control! Ginyu glared at his previous body that was now unconscious.
Well, let's try this bad boy out, shall we?
Gohan was now up and running thanks to the Yardratians, and the two clashed in a spectacular duel. This time, however, the boy was clearly in the lead. It almost seemed like Ginyu was deliberately getting into harm's way and halting the regeneration process. After a while, he uttered, still giggling,
Change!
but he aimed at his old body. Before Buu could fathom what had happened, he was already being vaporized by a combined attack from everybody. Crisis averted. Well, not quite. Vegeta kicked Ginyu, who was laying on the floor.
You blasted traitor! I'll kill you!
As he was preparing to blast Ginyu, Jeice grabbed his wrist. Enough. He helped out in the end, and you know it.
How can we trust him anymore? How blind are you?
I didn't say anything about trust. Jeice glared at his former leader. Ginyu, stand up, leave, and never look back. Ginyu spat out some blood and looked at his former men. He nodded slowly and left.
You're letting him go?
Vegeta was angrier than usual, seething. I'm pretty sure that most of us can take him down at this point. Besides, he deserves this. He needs to live with what he did. Gohan nodded. Agreed. Now we need to figure out what to do with Buu, and inform Bulma that we should wish for something else. Goku seemed proud of Gohan's accomplishments. You did well, Gohan. As did you, Force. Now let's go home. Jeice looked at the rest of the team, then at Goku. Actually, if it's alright, we'd like to stay on Yardrat for a while. Help to make up for whatever Ginyu had done, and finish our training.
We will be glad to have you here.
Goku smiled. Alright. He shook Jeice's hand. Just remember, you're always welcome on Earth. We know, Master Goku. We just need to think of some things through, and have an eye on Ginyu if he tries anything again. Vegeta still wasn't convinced. Then, the universe was saved, Majin Buu was forgiven, another thing that Vegeta hated, and the Saiyans could now focus on training again, especially Goku and the Prince, since they wanted to close the gap between themselves and Gohan. There was also a lot of chaos caused by a certain woken deity, but that was a story that Jeice and his friends missed since they were training and then other things requiring their attention. What was it? Well, you'll have to wait until the next episode to find out.